All right, guys. Good morning again. This is part 2, day 26. So if you missed the first video, go back and check it out. We did read Leviticus chapter 21, rules for priests, and we read Leviticus 22, verses 1 through 16. Tomorrow, Lord's will, in the next Bible study, we're going to pick up Leviticus 22, 17 to 33, talking about unacceptable sacrifices. And if we have time to get into Leviticus 23, Leviticus 23 is talking about the Sabbath, the Passover and unleavened bread, first fruits, Feast of Weeks, Day of Atonement, Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Tabernacles, and all of those great things. But we'll definitely resume Leviticus tomorrow, Lord's will. So now we're going to jump into Numbers. Now today we are on Numbers chapter 22. Balak summons Balaam. We're going to read as much as we can today. Again, like I said in the first video, and I've been saying it the last couple of days, September 1st, I believe, is on Saturday. So today's Tuesday. Between now and Friday, which is over the next 3 days, we're going to finish up Numbers and Leviticus for Bible study. So be looking out for a few extra videos because we're going to finish it strong and we're going to read all of it in the name of Jesus. So we're on Numbers 22 today. Numbers 23 is Balaam's first oracle. 24 is Balaam's fourth oracle, and different things like that. But let's get into 22. So then the Israelites traveled to the plains of Moab and camped along the Jordan across from Jericho. So Hebrew Jordan of Jericho, possibly an ancient name for the Jordan River. Keep in mind, yesterday we talked about Arad destroyed, the bronze snake, the journey to Moab, the feet of Sihon and Og. Right, so now Balak is summoning Balaam. Right, so now Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites in Moab, was terrified because there were so many people. Indeed, Moab was filled with dread because of the Israelites. And then you have to remember what type of people these are. The people are like the Moabites and the Amorites and all these ites and all these different type of people. Their culture, what they believe in, what they don't believe in, their practices, what they do, what they don't do. Keep that in mind. So now it's like they are afraid of the Israelites, and they should be, because God has abundantly blessed them. Right, so the Moabites said to the elders of Midian, this horde is going to lick up everything around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. So Balak, son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, sent messengers to summon Balaam, son of Beor, who was at Pethor near the river, or the Euphrates River, in his native land. Because basically, Balaam basically, like, whatever he say is pretty much going to be it. So if he curse you, it's like you curse. But if he bless you, it's like you're blessed. But we're going to see how God is going to move for him. We talked about this before last year. We're going to see what God is going to do. Because this is where we're getting what God has cursed. What God has blessed, no man can curse. Right? That comes from some other places in the Bible, but that really comes from this story as well. So just keep that in mind as we're reading. So he's in his native land. So this man is sending for him messengers to summon him to come to him. So Balak said, remember Balak is the king of this, right? Said, a people has come out of Egypt. They cover the face of the land and have settled next to me, which means they cover the face of the land. It's so many of them. If you're looking this way, that way, it's so many of them. And then remember, God promised Abraham, I'm going to give you descendants, and your seed is going to be as numerous as the stars of the sky, as numerous as the sand on the seashore. Right? So verse 6, so now come and put a curse on these people because they are too powerful for me. Have any of you ever endured that? Someone want to curse you or come against you or rise against you or oppose you. The enemy is basically using them because you're too powerful for them. Because you won't surrender, because you won't give in, because you won't compromise, because you just won't bend and break their way. Right, we read about that when we did our Esther series last year with Mordecai and Haman, right? So look, he said, perhaps then I will be able to defeat them and drive them out of the country. And that's how you know his motive and his spirit is wrong, because if you have to put a curse on them, if you have to try to put them at a disadvantage and you can't play fair and you can't do things the right way, that goes to show what kind of spirit you have on you. Because then he's talking about Perhaps then, which means after you do that, basically they meet their demise, basically, then I'll be able to defeat them and drive them out of the country. For I know that those you bless are blessed and those you curse are cursed. Remember, we just talked about that, right? So the elders of Moab, which means that this person, his words have power. Whether they're good words or bad words, they have some type of power, because he said to him, he's summoning him, he calling him from his native land to come to him and say, for I know that those you bless are blessed and those you curse are cursed. So the elders, on verse 7, you guys reading down with me. The elders of Moab and Midian left, taking with them the fee for divination. Remember, I said whether the words be good or bad. Divination, we know what divination is, like witchcraft is evil, right? So when they came to Balaam, they told him what Balak had said. Spend the night here, Balaam said to them, and I will bring you back the answer the Lord gives me. So the Moabite princes stayed with him. God came to Balaam and asked, who are these men with you? Divination, because like in the Bible, when we're reading what divination is talking about, a lot of times it's pointing like to sorcery and witchcraft. Like you read in Daniel, and like in the book, like with Joseph in Genesis, and Daniel in his own book, like they would have the magicians, the astrologers, the enchanters, the mediums, the spiritists. They would have all these different people around them. Because God came to Balaam and asked, who are these men with you? Balaam said to God, Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. That's a word for someone. Is the price tag worth it? Is the price tag worth it? Think about it. And then think about it again. Is the price tag worth it? Is that price worth that though? So verse 10, Balaam said to God, Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. A people that has come out of Egypt covers the face of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps then I will be able to fight them and drive them away. Listen, 12. But God said to Balaam, do not go with them. You must not put a curse on those people because they are blessed. And then not only is they blessed, those are God's special chosen people. We're all chosen and blessed by God, but Israel is his chosen possession. So the next morning, Balaam got up and said to Balak's princes, go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you. And that's the thing. We've been talking about this, and I'm going to say this again for someone. You can do with it what you feel like you need to do with it, but I'm going to say it again. If God is not in it, you don't need to be in it. But if God is in it, you need to be all up in it. We did so many videos on that. Read Ezekiel 1, and we talked about Ezekiel 1 too. Ezekiel 1 as well. You got to be like those living creatures. You got to be in sync. You got to move when it's time to move and stop when it's time to stop. So the Moabite princes 14 returned to Balak and said, Balaam refused to come with us. Then Balak sent other princes. He's trying to persuade him. Really dissuade him, but he's trying to persuade him. More numerous and more distinguished than the first. So he think, because I'm going to send these, they're going to be more distinguished. These are princes, which means that they have noble rank, which means they got some clout, some authority. They're numerous and they're more distinguished, but maybe you're going to change your mind. That's what I'm asking you. Is the price worth it? Is it worth it? Listen, God said it's not. It don't matter how they come dressed, what they look like, what they saying, what they trying to persuade you with, because really it's dissuasion, but they're trying to persuade you. It could be a job, a person, an opportunity, a relationship. It could be like an opportunity that's blinking like a neon light, like open, come in, and God is like, everything that glitters is not gold. Just like that quote that I told you guys, whoever said it before in a couple of videos. Don't believe everything basically for surface value, because even salt looks like sugar when you first look at it. But it's in a fruit, basically, like you got to taste and see. The quote doesn't say all of that, but I'm saying like once you taste it, you're going to see the difference. And the Bible says that by their fruit, you will know them. So don't say that God didn't tell you. So look, they came to Balaam and said, this is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Do not let anything keep you from coming to me. Which means I don't care if God's telling you don't come with me. I'm telling you come with me. Anyone that is trying to compromise your relationship with God, or tell you ignore what God is giving you, or get away from a godly path, that is a demonic person. Because if they was for God, they're going to speak in alignment with the Spirit of God. And if they're not, it's going to tell you who their father is and what spirit they're operating in. Listen, he said, this is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Do not let anything keep you from coming to me, because I will reward you handsomely and do whatever you say. That's why I'm asking you, is the price tag worth it? Is it worth it? Come and put a curse on these people for me. But Balaam answered them, even if Balak gave me his palace filled with silver and gold, I could not do anything great or small to go beyond the command of the Lord my God. Now stay here tonight as the others did, and I will find out what else the Lord will tell me. But the thing is, I was about to say boy, but he's not a boy, he's a man. The thing is, Balaam, God already told you the first time. God is not about to change his mind. Like, that's the thing. Like, don't let, because he's saying he gonna pay you handsomely and do all this, make you want to. God already told you the first time he don't want you to go. But we're going to see if God is going to say go or stay in this next thing. Because he said, now stay here tonight as the others did, and I'll find out what else the Lord will tell me. That night, God said to Balaam, came to Balaam and said, since these men have come to summon you, go with them, but do only what I tell you. Now we're going to talk about Balaam's donkey. Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. But God was very angry when he went. And why would God be very angry when he went? Because God already told him, I don't want you to go at these people before. Let's keep reading, because I almost said something else. But God was very angry when he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. How many times have God had to do that to us? We already had the sign from God. We don't need all these different confirmations and words. God already said it, and he was plain and he was clear, and he made it evident. It was apparent. But we like, oh God, well, I'm just going to go this far and do this, like we talked about before. God is like, I done told you already. But God was very angry when he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. The angel of the Lord, which means oppose, which means war. And Balaam was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. When the donkey, so this goes to show that spiritually you're not even discerning, because you're not even paying attention to this